Hi everybody, welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Things you maybe shouldn't say to a heart parent or any parent of a medically complex child. I just want to give like a preamble, this isn't necessarily stuff that people have said to me personally or to my family, my husband, whoever. It's not a first-hand thing. It's just, I feel like I'm in a lot of heart parent groups on Facebook, and I feel like a lot of the parents or moms there, this is mostly moms, have come to those groups to air their grievances of things people say to them that they take personally and they get offended by. And being a heart parent is not easy. So if you're not going to say something helpful, maybe you should just keep your thoughts to yourself. So again, this is not stuff that I've personally encountered. We've been really, truly blessed. Really have. We've been very fortunate. We have the most supportive family and friends. They're wonderful. They'll drop everything to help us if we need it, and we're extremely lucky. So this isn't necessarily stuff that I have dealt with. Well, there's one of them at least that I've dealt with, but so I made a list of 5 things, but honestly, they're all kind of similar. They all kind of merge together, in my opinion. But maybe you guys will think differently. And so this is just kind of like a public service announcement. Please think about what you're going to say and how it might feel if you were in a heart parent's shoes to hear it. So we'll start from the bottom of the list. We'll go up to the one that I hate the most. So number 5 is, you're making too big a deal out of it. We're not. We never are. It is a serious health condition, and it's going to be affecting our kids for their whole lives. And it's just hard whenever people downplay it. And that's, like I said, the recurring theme with a lot of these is dismissive behavior. That's really hard to deal with because it runs your whole life as a heart parent. Really, it's not a big deal. Well, it seems like a big deal when we were waiting for him to get out of surgery for 10 hours, or when we're drawing up his weekly medications, it kind of seems like a big deal. Or when we're running his feeding pump, kind of seems like a big deal. It's not nothing. So I think that's kind of the main point for that one. Okay, number 4 on my top 5 list of things I don't like to hear from people. This is such a negative topic. Why am I being so negative? New year, new negative attitude. Look at me go. Okay, this happened a lot more when I was pregnant. They would say, doctors are wrong a lot. Yeah, what's that old saying is that's why they call it medical practice, because doctors don't know. I definitely would have to disagree when not only did the maternal fetal medicine doctors see something wrong with Wynn's heart, but so did the cardiologist in Madison. And then she referred everything to the doctors in Boston, and they saw the same problem. So it was hard, especially when we were going through that whirlwind of okay, we have to pick up everything and go to Boston while I'm 7 months pregnant. It was hard to come back and have people say well, the doctors could be wrong. And it's well, just flew across the country and had a really, in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty rare procedure done. I'm going to go ahead and believe that they know what they're doing. Number 3, people saying, oh, he'll outgrow it, or, he'll be fine. That is not conductive conversation. It didn't help hearing that. It was always people saying oh, I know someone, my aunt's sister's cousin's nephew's child had the exact same heart condition and they're totally fine. They didn't need any surgery or anything. And I think what people fail to realize is that CHD is kind of just an umbrella. There's a lot of like minute differences between each heart condition. It is the most common birth defect. 1 in 100 babies end up having some kind of heart defect, but they're not all the same and they're not all critical. And Wynn's condition was critical, meaning he needed surgery within the first year of life. So it's not, I think that's what people fail to realize when they hear CHD. They just think of the one case that they know about, I guess, if that makes sense. And I think they just fail to realize that it's much bigger and much more diverse than maybe what they've experienced personally. So I think something to keep in mind, or something that you could say as an alternative, is like, hey, I knew someone who had a CHD and they were fine, and I hope that you or your family is as lucky as they were. Something like that is more comforting, I guess, to hear than someone just kind of like trying to tell you what's going to happen, because they don't know. And it's hard when you're trying to psych yourself up and doctors are trying to psych you up before the baby's born and tell you, hey, you're pretty much definitely your kid's gonna need this surgery, and then to have friends and family kind of brush it off and be like, oh, they probably won't. And it's just please, let me stay focused and know, you know how much you have to build yourself up to have the strength to go through those surgeries. It's hard. It's hard to be in the waiting room on those. So it just doesn't help. That's my point. So try and think of helpful things to say. Number 2, dismissing or downplaying COVID. First of all, COVID-19, hello. And just the common cold and flu, different sicknesses like that. We really can't do that. We don't have that luxury of just hoping that my kid gets it and gets immune to it and that is fine. Because a lot of common sicknesses could send Wynn to the ER. Just to give you an idea of things that our child has to go to the ER for, there was a time when he wasn't steadily gaining weight and we had to take him to the ER, and he ended up being readmitted to the ICU just because there's not a cardiac unit really at American Family Children's Hospital. It's just pretty much all the cardiac patients, if they are inpatient, they go to the ICU. From what I understand of heart healthy babies, if they are not gaining weight properly, you schedule an appointment with their pediatrician, and maybe they'll suggest fortifying their food with extra formula or raising their calorie intake or something like that. They're probably not going to tell you that you have to take your child to the emergency room and be admitted to the hospital for a week or 2. But that's what we had to do. And that's just for poor weight gain. So if you can imagine a kid that already has poor oxygen levels, what do you think they're going to do if he gets the sniffles? Or or he's coughing and rasping and wheezing. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to make him impatient. Probably the same if he had a stomach bug. If he was vomiting or had diarrhea and there was risk of him getting dehydrated, they would probably have him be inpatient because he's already on diuretics to remove fluid from his body. So if he's dehydrated, they're going to need to monitor him so that they can watch and control his medicine intake as well. So it's not as simple as it might be for some other families. No, we're not making a big deal about COVID. We just always make a big deal out of everything. We keep hand sanitizer at every door of our home, so anyone who comes into our home, we make them juice up. Okay, now the number 1 thing that I personally can't stand, and it's really only ever happened to me 1 or 2 times: excessive pity. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't want to tell the whole story because I don't want to make people feel bad. Because they don't know. And it's fine. And that's why I'm making this video, so that people know and understand. I'm just going to come out and say this. My child has a hard life, yes, but he is not dead and he is not dying. Please do not look at me with these big puppy dog eyes like he's on his way out the door. Like, don't do that to me. He is a firecracker and he is like the sunshine of my world. Please do not act like he is like dying. He's not. He's good. That's why we do all this. That's why we have all these doctors that we go to and that we trust with his care, because we're not gonna just roll over and drool. Like, we're gonna do everything we can to make him healthier and safer. And I went to a friend's house, and a friend of hers from out of town was there, and we were all, it was like a party, so we were all having a good time, having a couple beers, whatever, just relaxing, listening to music, talking, having fun. This girl starts asking me about myself, and she's like, oh, you're that friend, you're Jesse, your son has the heart condition. I said, yeah, that's my son Win, yep, but he's doing great. You know, like, that's kind of my like automatic response is, he's doing great. I don't necessarily want to talk in like a lot of detail about it, but like, he's doing great. We don't have to go there kind of thing, because I know that people automatically are like, how are you? And that's kind of what this girl did, is she was just like, oh. She did that. She clicked her tongue a lot, and I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, and she just looked at me, she's like, oh, must be so hard. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I appreciate that you're trying to understand what I'm going through. So I like to have one night to like be my old self and crack jokes and like have a good time and just laugh and let go and be easygoing and feel good and free from responsibilities, and then to have someone like really remind me of all the responsibility I have at home and like everything that worries me about my daily life at home, everything I'm afraid of and terrified of. I don't know if I'm like a little post-traumatic about, and maybe that's why I don't like talking about Win's condition in detail, but if you're at a party and someone you know who like recently was, I don't know, held at gunpoint, I mean, are you gonna, if they're like smiling and carefree and having a good time, are you gonna be like, I heard about what happened. Did it make you shit your pants when you had that gun in your face? Like, I know it's a completely different example, but I'm just trying to think of something that people maybe can relate to, and it's like, yeah, dude, it's terrifying. Thank you so much for reminding me how scary and hard it is. You know the show Friends? Monica's dating Tom Selleck. His name's Richard, right? The character's name. Anyways, and he's out like, he just like went through divorce or something, and he's like, the worst thing is the sympathetic head nod. How you holding up? That's what I feel like. He talks about how he hates it. That's how it feels. It feels like that. So, just to recap those topics again. Number 5 was, you're making too big a deal of it. Maybe a good alternative for that is just talking to the people and trying to understand why they make such a big deal of it. Number 4, doctors are wrong a lot. Maybe a good alternative to that would be, honestly, it would help me to hear, well, he's in good hands. You know, these doctors have a lot of training, so they're gonna help. Like, that would help me. Number 3, he'll be fine, or he'll outgrow it. I think it's hard because you work so hard to make yourself accept it, and then to have someone brush it off is just, I mean, in any topic, that's gonna suck, right? Dismissive or downplaying of colds and COVID. I don't understand. I don't understand. I never will. I never will understand your mindset. And I've accepted that. So it's okay. So, I'm not even gonna talk about that. I don't know. I still got nothing. I try not to talk about COVID. It's too much of a hot button. But I will say that it is very obviously real. There. I said it. That's how I feel. And the pity thing, number one, excessive pity. I don't even have a good alternative for that. I appreciate that you're trying to understand my situation, but I think it helps me more than you like pitying me and telling me how sorry you are that I'm going through a hard scenario. I think what would help a lot more is you must be really strong, and then kind of leaving it there. Because that helps. Sometimes I definitely need to hear that. I'm sure my husband needs to hear it too. Honey, if you're watching this, you're really strong. Alright. Bye guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up or comment. If you're a heart parent and you have any other things that you don't like hearing and you want to put them in the comment section, please do. I would love to hear what you guys go through too. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more crazy content and me just ranting about stuff or washing things, because that's pretty much all I do. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye. Anyways, this video was a disaster. Am I right? Okay, good. Well, thanks for hanging in there if you did. Maybe you didn't. I don't know.